So I was walking around Philippines here close to Alabang, around Alabang area, and I found this motorcycle shop. I'm gonna put the name here and the address. They do maintenance for big bikes. They have so many accessories for touring bikes also. So it's a really cool shop. People here are super nice also. So the first bike I want to show is this BMW R90s. A lot of things on the bikes are very funny. So the brake system, as the Miguel, which the owner here was explaining to me. So Miguel was explaining that the brake goes from cable. So when you pull here, it enables a cable just like a bicycle, and then it goes to a pump that transforms it into hydraulic movement, and then it goes on this wire, like the oil, to pump the brakes, which is very complex way. So you have a conversion which makes the brake takes time. So this brake must be like really low in efficiency. That's why this must be big, and as you can see here, it's also very thick, just to compensate for the temporal loss from the pressing the brake until it comes down here to the caliper. So very strange. For people who don't know this is also to help release the heat from the exhaust. So super hot gas coming out, overheat here, so the heat dissipates on this metallic part, which takes wind through and cool down. So if you see this on carbureted bikes, now you know why. This is a carbureted bike, by the way. As you can see, there's no oil cooler, nothing. It just cools down with you riding. And the engine is actually very funny because there's one piece of the engine here that separate, and then there's a secondary part that separates, and then you have the center of the engine, and then you have this upper part and this lower part, and then the drive, which is really funny because there's so many places for leaking oil that can possibly leak oil. That's a very fun engineering. Also, another thing that's very interesting on this motorcycle is the battery, because as you can see here, this motorcycle is fully original, right? Even the headlights are original, the exhaust, but the battery is so big. Like, batteries today are like half size, and I think probably 20% of the weight of those batteries that came out on those motorcycles. But when you had a big headlight like this one and everything's halogen lights, it really burns a lot of battery to keep up. So the rear suspension has adjustment. So here the rear brake is drum. I thought the front brake was also drum, but it's not. So the rear brake is drum, adjustable rear suspension. Here's the carburetor. They're doing some maintenance on the carburetor of this bike. And as you can see here, it's super nice to have even the stickers here. And here's the headlight. And here to compare is the new generation. So this one is a 1200 engine. So the 1200 engine is oil cooled. So if you see this is an oil cooler. Now see the difference in the brake. So the area of the disc where the pads touch on this one is thinner on this one, but you have a much more efficient brake system. The way that they fixate the brakes also more efficient for braking, for the torsion movement the bike does. One of the best reasons for the inverted fork is that this part of the fork is more resistant to movement. It doesn't contort or twist as much as this one, so you have a more stiff part of the suspension, which results in better transference of the movement to the to the ground, and from the ground to the handlebars, where you can really do something about it. So this engine has the front cover here, which is plastic, and then you have the second division of the engine, and then you have the entire engine on the back, which is more efficient. So we have the spark plug that goes under here, the gas return, which is something that regulations demand for, TPS, throttle valve, everything here. Super cool. Like, everything is assembled into the design of the bike, which makes it look incredible. And as you can see here, the drive very long, very different from this one. But yeah, so much technology and difference in development from that bike to this bike is a huge advance. The dash is the same one as the R1800, I think, because I've seen the dash on that bike, so it's the same. The tail lights are really nice. here, super cool. And the front, so they are new generation and old generation. Super cool bike. So the brake is a regular pump brake, signed by BMW. It's not radial mount, so it's actually good for street. But yeah, that's a run shoe. So they have a lot of accessories here. So wheels, oils, filter, a lot of stuff that you need for any bike. They even have rapid bike here, which is cool. Full controller, everything. There's oil filters, air filters. Look at those pipes, so cool. Never seen this one. You know, for the R18, yeah, so cool. They even have Zard here. Those pipes are so nice. Look at this one, crazy, good looking. I think one of my favorite brands is Zard. They have a unique design that's really great. And this is a 1300. See the exhaust there? Super nice. Full kit with the GPS and everything. They always have a lot more accessories. The one that goes on this is the black one version of this one. Super cool. Everything's so well made, as you can see here. Super well made. Here, for those who don't know the design of how the exhaust is inside, so the gas comes through here, and then you have, see this, usually to block the gas, it goes through the hole, pass down, comes back through here, and a little bit only goes through here. So this muffle the sound and retain a lot of the dirt that comes through it. Super cool. They also have helmets here and other types of accessories. They work with this unit garage, which is Italian, and has accessories for the GS and I think Ducati. Lots of accessories for Multistrada. As you can see here, before Multistrada, Panamerica, and those are for any bike, so they have separated here, right? Models, super cool, and they have Rizoma, original Rizoma. Those are very difficult to find. So super nice, and one of the coolest bikes here. So this one, this CBR, I think is a V2, if I'm not wrong. The bike had a radiator mount on the sides and ended up having a little bit of problems on racing because of the temperature, but it was later fixed. But in the end, this bike did a lot better than the Suzuki V2. Very beautiful motorcycle. It's like brand new. It already has a hydraulic clutch. The brake fixation is kind of radial mount, but done in a different way. So per race bike, you cannot have so many connections because all of those connections are a point of movement, and you don't want a movement. But this was like technologies from older days, so they found a way to radial mount this, but then they started to produce the like that, which is already made for the radial mount. But yeah, so this is the store I'm gonna show you, and hope you enjoyed the video and leave a like. Thank you.